Hey everybody, welcome back to the garage. If this is your first time visiting my channel, please go ahead, click on subscribe, and also click on the bell to receive all the updates and activities on my channel. Alright, today is Sunday. It's also Easter, so happy Easter everybody. We're going through some strange times as of late, but you know what? With common sense and patience, we'll get through this and we'll be back to happier times. So, with that being said, I hope everybody is staying safe and everybody is healthy. Alright? Alright, so this is Project Sled 2020. It's in the garage, and there's probably two responses going through everybody's head, and there's probably either, what are you going to do to this sled? It looks pretty good as it is. Or two, why is it black, right? Alright, so for those of you who don't know, this is a 1998 XC700. This is kind of like the swan song of the wedge chassis. This is like the last variation of the wedge before it went over the Gen 2. You know, it's got the CRC front end in the front. It's got the Liberty engine underneath the hood. It's got the extra 10 in the back. It's got the extra 10 in the front. It's got the seat that doesn't break your back on it, relatively speaking. And you know, it's the wedge that was refined over the course of 18 years of production, right? Before it went over to the Gen 2, right? So it's a 1998 XC700. So again, why is it black, right? So I'm the third owner of it. The person I bought it from, he bought it in 2000. He owned it for 20 years, right? The original owner of this sled is also the owner of Southside Sales out in Adams, Mass. I'm pretty sure it's Adams, Mass, right? And for those of you who are not familiar with Southside Sales in Massachusetts, that's fine. But they are a very large Polaris dealer out in my area. Not only do they sell sleds, but they also have a couple race teams. They compete in Rock Maple, and then there's another racing series that they also compete in. But for the life of me, the name escapes me right now. So this sled was snow checked by the owner of Southside Sales back in 1998. And when it came in, he didn't like the white. They pulled the hood off of it and they replaced it with a hood. They painted it, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. And then they switched over the color scheme from white to black, right? So again, in 1998, the 700 and the 600 only came in white. There is no options for it, right? So if it was original a white sled, the bumper would have been white with a red stripe, along with the rub strip would have been white with a red stripe, along with the bumper caps, right? So when this sled came in, they actually did it right. They didn't paint all that stuff. They actually swapped out the bumpers, the caps, and the rub strip, because I know that these were swapped out because if you don't know, those bumper strips or those rub strips are actually not painted. They're actually powder coated. And what happens is when they wear, the powder coat actually will start to chip off the bare aluminum. And I know that these are black ones and they're not white, then they're painted black. Because if you look where it's chipping, you'll see the bare aluminum. You won't see any semblance of white. So we know that those were actually swapped out. They weren't painted. So the hood is another story. So this is not a white hood that was painted black, because whenever you're doing a paint swap, usually when it's something that drastic, when something is painted from white to black or black to white, you will be able to find areas where it wasn't masked off correctly. You'll be able to see the original color. That's not the case here. So this hood was a dark color in its origin, but it's not a factory painted Polaris hood. What I mean by that is when Polaris painted their hoods in the factory, the paint was pretty flat. There was some orange peel in it, but it was pretty flat and pretty consistent. As far as this hood, this hood was a dark color, and then it was painted at some point, because even underneath it's black. And then you can see like the edges, like underneath the screens and everything else. It was a dark hood. But I say it was painted because if we get real close to it, you'll see, like right there. You can see it right there. you can see a lot of fine lines. And if you go down, they just continue all the way down the hood, right? So that is proof that this hood was some color, and then it was painted at one point. So all those scratches you see, those are all scuff marks from whoever prepped the hood. They painted it, but then once it was done painting it, they never wet sanded it to level it off. They just kind of, they did whatever, and then they put some decals on it, and then they called it done. All right, so there you go. So that's why this sled is black. The owner of Southside wanted it black, so that's why this sled is black, right? So as far as the overall condition of the sled, it's in pretty good shape. Again, the person that owned it before I did, he had it for 20 years. It was always stored indoors. So it does have a new saddle and seat cover on it, which is great because usually the sleds, as far as project sleds, usually those things are all trashed. So I'm happy that we don't have to deal with that. The handlebar pad is in good shape. So it's got 4,400 miles on it. So when we go ahead and open up the hood, other than it being a little bit dirty, which is to be expected for a sled that's 23 years of age, it's in good shape. So what we'll be doing is we'll be pulling the engine out, cleaning up the engine bay area, checking mounts, filters, lines, and carb boots, and going through the whole thing soup to nuts. The clutching is not standard. Again, the second owner told me when Southside had it, they changed the springs and the weights on the primary, and also the spring and helix in the secondary. To me, I haven't pulled out the clutch yet, but that looks like, to me, that looks like an EPI red spring. But we'll figure out what it is when we pull it all apart. The sled has 120 PSI in each cylinder. There's no signs of oil seepage around either seal, so that's a good sign. But it does have its issues. But again, the machine is 22, 23 years of age. So, all right. So the track is okay. We'll probably be looking for another track. The trailing arms look good. Shocks have seen better days, but again, a machine of 20 years of age, that's all to be expected. So, people were gonna say, I said, well, all right, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna be doing with this sled? Because this sled actually looks a lot better than some of the projects that I'm working on. So, what we're gonna do is, and I thought about this idea when I was working on the Ultra, and I've actually been thinking about this for probably the last couple of years, right? So we have the 92 XCR 440, right? I think everybody's goal in life at one point is to have a 1998 XCR 440. But as you know, they're almost impossible to find. And when you do find them, they're either trashed or they're already restored where you don't want to take them out because you feel that you're going to trash them or anything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a tribute / clone to the 1998 XCR 440, right? And some people are going to say, oh, stop, what are you going to do? No, you can't do that. You're going to destroy that hood. No, we're not. We're actually, I know this hood is unique, again, because I've never seen a black XC700 in my life. First one I've ever seen. So before everybody starts having a panic attack, we're going to save that hood. We're going to pull it off along with the nose cone, and we may sell it. We may save it for something else. But we are going to make a clone 1998 XC440, but we're going to have a spin on it. Instead of a 440, we'll have a 700 in it, and we'll go from there. And so with it being a 700, even though it's going to look like a 440, I won't care about taking it out, going through the woods, beating the crap out of it or anything like that. I'll have the looks of a 440, but the running gear of a 700, and it'll be good to go. Because for those of you who don't know, the 440, especially now, there's a lot of parts that are no longer available from Polaris. A lot of it, like the exhaust bellows, those do tear, and it's at the point now when those fail, nobody makes them. Polaris doesn't make them anymore, and nobody makes them from aftermarket. So when you're in a point like that, where something as simple as a bellow fail, you're down. So, but again, there's a million of these 700s out there. I'm not worried about wrecking the sled or destroying the sled because there's a million of them out there. But I looked probably for a good 5 or 6 months looking for a 700 or a 600. That was kind of like halfway gone as far as using it as a base to do what I wanted to do. But anything I saw was completely trash, and I didn't want to start off on it. So when I actually came off on this, I says, oh, this is perfect. Somebody already kind of did the work for me where they already took a white hood off of it and put a black one on it. So that's kind of what my thought process is on this whole thing. I'm not going to be destroying a white hood to basically do something else. So yeah, that's what the project is. So let me know what you think. Do you think I'm making a mistake? Do you think it sounds like a good idea? What? I don't know. Let me know. But the way I look at it, there's a million of these wedges out here. So now is the time to do something different on a wedge, something you don't typically see, and go from there. So, all right, let me know if you think I'm making a mistake or whatever. Throw a comment below, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, and we'll go from there. So, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.